All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Balaji with Brave Young Heroes, and I am thrilled to bring you another session in the Raising Resilient Kids Summit. Oh, this is a good one, folks. This is a good one. Let me tell you a little bit about this lovely couple that you're looking at beside me that wrote this amazing book. Now, they are successful business owners, the parents of 7 kids spanning 2 generations. They just had another beautiful grandchild added to the crew. They are passionate about positive parent-child relationships, and they're all about unearthing the uniqueness in every child. Brandon is a certified strengths coach through Gallup. Analyn owns and operates the Analyn Miller Group. She is just killing it in the real estate business, and they still have time to look good, spend time taking care of each other and their large family. It's so amazing. I've learned a lot about parenting from these guys, and you will too. They're like peanut butter and jelly. He's the DJ, she's the rapper. Please help me welcome Analyn and Brandon Miller.
Hey everybody.
Here we go.
Welcome, guys. How's it going? How you guys feeling?
We're great.
Amazing.
Very good. Very
so
good.
Excited to be here.
This is a treat. This is a treat. You guys wrote this amazing book titled Play to Our Strengths. A new approach to parenting your kids as God made them. And this is near and dear to my heart. So we're about to get started, but I'm going to need you guys to do an intervention with me, okay?
All right.
Because I think like a lot of parents out here, all right, we feel like our job is to get our kids basically to survive long enough to give us grandkids, okay? So
Right.
that's our job. So we got to make sure they can tie their shoes, cross the street, mow the lawn, not fail out of school, right? Go to college, get a job, and all that good stuff. We feel like we have to make sure that whatever possible way they could mess up in life, we prevent them from doing that. And it is exhausting. I am tired, and I think my kids might be a little bit tired of me nagging them. I need help. What am I doing wrong? Because sometimes it feels like my kids are unincredible at a lot of things. Help me.
Right.
Well, what's awesome is the basis of our book, Play to Their Strengths, is all about, like you mentioned, unearthing the unique talents in each of our kids. And what's interesting on that subject is a lot of times they're very raw. So, you mentioned, just... making sure that they don't mess up or they don't, like you just want to protect them. And I think through this process, there almost is that allowance that you have to give your kids to just fly a little bit, in the areas that you see them strong in, and realizing that that it's a raw talent and that it's us who, as we're unearthing it, we're helping shape them, if that makes sense, and hone in on those things that they are strong in. So do you want to add to that?
I think we're totally in alignment there, Balaji, and we needed an intervention too. Yeah. Because
that's how it all started.
With our first 3 kids, and we started very young. When you start at 12 and 13, no kidding. When you started at 18 and 17, and you have 3 kids very young, which our book says, you're looking for a lot of help. You're looking for all the help you can get. And to be honest, as we started to raise that group of kids, we not only wanted them to survive, but we wanted them to make us look good while they did it. So we wanted to keep them out of trouble and make us look good and keep us feeling like, we're doing a good job. Keep up the good work, Mom and Dad. But in reality, that's not what it's about. We wanted to raise kids, as this conference is called, resilient kids. Kids that understood who they were and how they were uniquely made and how to embrace that identity and launch into the world. And that was a transition. And so for parents that are listening and caretakers and folks that are stepping into that role, we've been in the trenches. We're still in the trenches. The next 4 are 9, 12, 15, and 16. So we got a little ways to go. First 3 are married and moved on, still 4 at home. But that reality is something that I think we all could use, just a refresher, a reminding of, we were given these beautiful treasures, these amazing kids, and they weren't meant to be a mystery to us. We were meant to find out what makes them strong, what makes them unique, and how to launch them into their destinies and their futures.
You said something, guys, that really resonates with me. You said sometimes parents feel like our children exist to make us look good, to other parents. It's almost like if my child has that tantrum in the store, or isn't communicating well when speaking to an adult, or doesn't have good manners when other people can see there, I feel like those other parents are silently judging me, like, you had one job. You had one job and you can teach your child XYZ.
Right.
Why does that get to us so much as parents?
I think that I'll speak for myself and you can pipe in, but I really do think that there is this way of comparison that we put on ourselves, whether it's from upbringing and then also just obviously society's sake, but there's this, we're always seeing how we measure up in comparison to other people. Yes. And what's really unfair about that is, you know, everyone has a different culture. Everyone has a different, I would even say, value system. And so when you start comparing in that way, it's like you just set yourself up for disaster, because your kids are not going to be perfect. Your kids are going to make mistakes. And then as they're finding their way, just as we found our way, right? As we grow into adulthood and we're finding our way, there's going to be those opportunities, those learning opportunities, to where if you tend to lean on the side of comparison, it can actually cause you to really look down on yourself as a parent, and then also, you know, reprimand or discipline the children in a way that may not be necessary, you know. And so we do talk a lot about that in the book, in terms of like reevaluating your own value system and why you do things, you know, because a lot of times if you don't even get to that point, you're just in autopilot. You know, you're surviving. You're in survival mode and reactive mode. So that is the point of our book. We want to take people out of that place of just reacting to situations and being proactive. Because when you're proactive, you're thinking in advance.
Yes.
You're looking down the road, or, you know, you've got some type of process that you're taking your child through.
You know, I'll add that our social circles used to be our family, our friends, those that we interacted with within our community.
Right.
And that was hard enough.
Yeah.
That was a tough enough group to try to feel like we fit in, we were making a difference, we were doing it right. Today, our social circles are global. And this title influencer that are being ascribed to those that are meant to give us ideas of how we should be has only intensified this scrutiny that we might feel. How do we stack up? How do we measure up? And as parents, one of the goals that we had in writing this book and in subsequent works that we're thinking about really has to do with authenticity. Being the parent you were designed to be, that to raise a resilient child, first, mom and dad, we have to be resilient.
Right.
And we have to understand that giving way to this place of overly thinking about what others think, overly concerning ourselves with others think. Some public opinion is good. Some public opinion is right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay if I'm mistreating or doing something I shouldn't, and someone says, hey, that's not okay. I welcome that kind of feedback, especially from trusted sources. But in regards to, you know, overcoming this, I think there's a part of that as we come into our own, we say this in chapter 7, our own awareness of who am I as a mom or a dad? What do I do that's great as a parent? And how do I bestow that into my kids? They know what to expect, and I'm okay with what others think about my journey along the way.
Wow. That sounds super grown up. Brandon, I don't even think I'm that grown up yet, and I want to be that, but a lot of times I feel frustrated, especially when my child is failing in an area that we've discussed before. You know, it's sort of like, okay, if this is the very first time you're trying to learn to tie your shoelaces, I get it, kid. You know, let me help you out, right? It's a fun process. Then the 5th time, and then the 15th time, we're rushing out to school, and you still have, okay, all right, Dad will tie your shoelaces. By the time it gets to the 50th time, it's not that cute anymore, Brandon.
That's right.
And I'm frustrated.
It's true. And I would offer that frustration that we feel with our kids is normal. It's part of the process of what am I learning along the way in this journey? And am I willing to take the lessons that come with this incredible privilege of raising a child, this incredible privilege of helping to shape and form values and help to launch. And it's not easy. And we make no bones about that. I think in our book we say, you know, parenting is not for the faint of heart. and we would not in any way attempt to deceive someone to say it isn't, because what you just said, the tantrums in the stores. I think we have seen our share of epic versions of that. I think our children decided at the perfect time with everyone looking. You think, I think someone's going to call the police on us. It sounds like we just tried to murder this child. We just told them they couldn't have a toy, And so I think as parents, you got to let yourself off the hook. It's not always going to go the way you hope it goes. And when we can step back and get perspective and learn from our teachers and take great feedback from those that might be a little further down the path, but willing to share and willing to offer perspective. Because, when we thought about writing a book, we said, we hope we give a field manual to people where they feel like you're real people. You can touch these folks. They're not talking about all just the best of the Miller journey. It's a good, bad, and ugly. And so to our talk today, we're very open and very willing to share just from some of the hard lessons that we had to learn along the way.
Yeah, and I just want to add a little bit to that. Is there's a section in our book where we talk about trading frustration for fascination.
Yes.
And the whole, behind that concept, what we want to just, it's almost like, we just want to shake ourselves into just another way of thinking. And the fact that we're going to get frustrated, it's going to happen, right? And so we're just asking people, just make a shift. Decide to make a shift. When you get into that frustrated spot, what is fascinating about your kid? Just shift to that spot of fascination about them. Like, who are they? Who are they going to be? The fascination we had with them as little babies, and it tends to wane, getting back to that place. Because we find when we do that, even the times that we're having a discipline or there's something that's frustrating and we're like, okay, let's think about this kid. And we'll just start laughing and go, oh my goodness.
Wow.
I could see him doing this, or, we could see him doing that. And you start to just ponder on and think about their awesomeness and who they are becoming, if that makes sense. And it just breaks you out of that. I feel like you can get caught in that circle,
because then they become teenagers, Balaji.
Well,
no. And everything you saw,
that's another show.
And everything you saw at 2 or 3 erupting in the store becomes an entirely different.
Oh my gosh!
In the home or out in public, and we're in the thick of that. Like our kids, we are 4 for 4 on this. Our children decided to lose their mind at 15 years old. So we're 4 for 4, and our 14-year-old's birthday is in September.
Oh my God!
I'm hoping that we're not 5 for 5, because right now things are good. But what we've learned about even the teen years is that some of the journey they have to go through isn't a rebellion against you. It's an assertion of their self-value, their worth, their feelings of, does the world want me? Has it been waiting for who I am? Is it ready to accept me? And so even as parents, they're wanting us to identify with, do you see me?
Yeah.
Do you see me individually? Do you know who I am? Or are you trying to still think of me as you want to see me? And that's a tough journey for a teen. And so the expression of it comes out in all different ways. And our oldest at home right now, she just turned 16. Beautiful daughter, Michaela. And Michaela, of all 7 kids, if you were to take a poll of all of our kids, they would say, who's the most strong-willed? They go, oh, that's the middle one.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And we love her strength of character. We love her intensity. And sometimes we hate it. And sometimes it's hard because it comes at us. And she wants to assert. And she wants to be strong and decide what she'll do and what she won't do. But we're learning to okay, how do we roll with this? How do we not allow it to move us to a place where we lose objectivity? Because that's what frustration really does. Is we go from big, wide eyes, see a big picture, to, oh, now I can only see what's making me frustrated. And for you, for the child, they can't. That's not a real place to be. That's not how it actually is. And that, I think, even in this stage of our parenting journey with new perspective, and we warn our kids, we did write a book, right? We did that, so you can listen to us. It doesn't fly, but we try that every now and then and say, like, hey, we might know what we're talking about, but even still, we love that part of the journey, Balaji, because the fact simply is that all parents are seeking to get to a place where we have long-standing relationship with our kids.
Yes, that's true.
Influencers beyond
beyond
the years in the house
18,
and help encourage, you know,